Hello. Um, I have recently started doing the Artist's Way, and I mean I've had this book for over 10 years, and I would start it and then I would put it down, um, mostly because the morning pages, when I initially did them, I wasn't used to doing a lot of work with my thoughts and looking at my thoughts, and so my morning pages were really ugly, and then I would see what I was writing, and then I would get really depressed, and then I would stop reading it, and I didn't want to go back to it. But um, you know 10 or however many years later, I've done a lot more work with my mind, work with my thoughts, observing my thoughts, just inner work in general, shadow work. So it's a lot easier for me now. So I'm coming to the end of week 2. I wanted to do a video summary for week 1 and week 2, but I didn't, and here we are. Week 1, I did morning pages almost every day. I still don't like them. I find them very tedious. And I didn't do the artist date, and I didn't do a couple of the homework assignments. There were some assignments about writing letters to yourself or to your ego or something, and I just didn't do them. And this week, I'm about to go on an artist date. I'm forcing myself. I'm exhausted. The past 2 weeks have been pretty demanding at work. I've been working more than I'm used to, and I just, like, all day I've been dragging. I had coffee, I had some cocoa, I had breakfast. I'm still dragging, but I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble and grab some magazines that I think look interesting, and maybe some books or some cookbooks, and just sit my happy ass down and go through them. Just flip through them, see what interests me, what piques my curiosity. My experience thus far, I do notice that I'm getting, I think, more ideas for songs. Like, I'll be at work and my mind will kind of be running and wandering, and I think, like, because something that's been coming up for me has been how mentally I'm always seeking to find ways to change myself, or thinking about, okay, how can I make my body look a certain way? How can I not be as soft or as sensitive? Or I wish that I was less sensitive. How can I do this? How can I be that? And, so obviously one thing that I need to work on is self-acceptance. And, but as there was one day where those thoughts were kind of coming up, and I was thinking about, man, I need to learn how to accept myself, and I need to practice self-love, and I should be saying sorry to myself. And then I was like, oh, I can write about that. That's great material for a song. So I do think that in some ways I'm having more creative ideas. And even though I didn't do morning pages this morning, I did them every other day this week. I did notice that yesterday when I did them, just out of the blue, I wasn't trying for this, because with morning pages, I always just sort of write down what's on my mind and just, like she says in the book, a brain dump, you know. So typically it's a lot of, you know, obsessive thinking and what my mood is like and what I'm doing. And yesterday's morning pages, for whatever reason, and I just mean I'm you know, what I'm seeing as I'm writing, because I don't write it and then go back and read it, because you're not supposed to. But I noticed that there was a lot of interesting rhythm and some interesting phrases and wording that I used yesterday, just seemingly out of nowhere, because every other morning page, you know, they have not been poetic. They're just kind of like out onto the page. So that was interesting. I'm struggling a little bit with letting myself prioritize doing anything other than going to work and taking care of things around the house, or even just scrolling, honestly, because again, these past 2 weeks, especially today, my energy is just in the toilet. Like, I just feel very drained. So I haven't been creating very much at all these past 2 weeks, really. You know, and I'm forcing myself to at least go to the bookstore. Like, I didn't really plan and schedule my artist date like I was supposed to. I just said, okay, well, I have Sunday off, so I'll do something on Sunday. And the bookstore is easy, and I'm really pushing myself to do this because A, my ego tells me it's not important, it's not a priority, and B, I don't have a lot of energy resources at the moment. I'm also noticing that, I mean, and a big part of this too is me going back to open mic after about a year, so performing for the first time in a while, but observing where my ego, you know, all of the stories that it's telling me about, oh, you're too old, it's too late, why are you getting on stage and reading poetry, you're wasting people's time, this is not doing anything for anybody, it's not giving anyone anything except for you, you're just doing this because you want attention or whatever. So there have been some challenging feelings that have been coming up since I've started The Artist's Way. Again, in large part because I'm going back to open mic, but also I think just the nature of The Artist's Way and what it asks of you, and, you know, which is to be creative, to be your creative self. So, you know, it is challenging a lot of the time. It is challenging to the ego because, I mean, for many reasons, right? Societally, we're conditioned to sort of equate our value to how productive we are and how, you know, the quality of our possessions, essentially. So it's hard in some ways, I do think it's maybe helping in some ways. There hasn't been like any aha moments yet. It hasn't been earth-shattering or anything, but like I said, I'm just finishing week 2. So tomorrow I will start week 3. I don't know if I'll be able to make it to read all of week 3 today. I will try, but I do plan on continuing some like video updates and summaries about my experience. So I guess if you're watching this, thank you, and look out for that. Yeah, I guess that's all I got. So be well, stay safe, and I appreciate you watching this, to whoever's watching this, and I will see you in the next one.